Good morning, everyone. My name is Hassan Taufik, a political scientist and a public analyst. This is a political time, a politics time, campaign here and there, campaign everywhere throughout the country. There is campaign everywhere by all the political parties. People are asking me that why is your candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is too arrogant, pompous, and boast that he is one who can do, is the one who can do this, is the one who can revive this country. My response to that question is that what Ajibola Ahmed Tinubu said in his interview in BBC after the Chatham House interaction is never an outburst, is never a brag or a pompous, not being an arrogant. His achievement is obvious and empirical fact that everybody can go to access. Do you get it? So, for you to know that what he said about his capacity, his ability, his sensitivity, his rationality, his intelligence, his intellectual capability to handle this country at this material time, it's never an outburst or a brag. But if you say it's a brag, yes, it's a brag. But let's make a comparative analysis between the front runners of this election. We have Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC, All Progressive Congress. We have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, People's Democratic Party. And we have the Labour Party of the Chief Peter Obi. And we have Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso of the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP. Let's make a comparative analysis between these four individuals. Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was a governor, democratic elected governor of Kano State, 1999 to 2003. He could not retain or succeed himself to a second term in office due to some political gimmick relative to Kano State. But coming back in 2011, he made a tremendous achievement. Infrastructural development, economic development. The state was wearing a new look compared to previous years before he came back for a second term. He made a very tremendous achievement politically, economically, and infrastructurally. And he established a successor in office, which could continue his legacy of infrastructural and economic plan for the state. But what happened along the line? He could not sustain that predecessor and successor relationship, so that this legacy of the plan he had for Kano State can be a trend that will continue for a long time. He could not succeed that, could not retain that, which means there is a truncation in his plan because Ganduje in his zone now can now choose to abolish his plan and establish another plan. So and the problem we have in this country is lack of continuity. Lack of continuity is what we have as a problem in this country. When you look at the previous government from Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Goodluck, and Buhari today. Obasanjo come with the privatization program. When Yar'Adua come, he come with 7-point agenda. Goodluck come with a transformation agenda. While Buhari now is saying the economy, corruption, and security. So you can see there is no synergy in the continuation of a successive government, which is the problem we're having in our development in Nigeria. So with that, relative to Kano, of which Kwankwaso could not achieve, he is a failure in that aspect as a leader. He could not continue that trend. He has no capacity to sustain his ideology and plan in that state. Let's now look at Chief Peter Obi of the Labour Party. He won the election of Anambra State in 2006, and he met the IGR of Anambra State at 500 million per month, which amount to 6 billion annually. But throughout his 8 years, he could only increase that 500 million per month to around 700 or 800 million, which amount to 10.4 billion annually when he was leaving the office by 2014. So for the period of 8 years, it could only increase annual revenue IGR of the state from 6 billion annually to 10.4 billion annually. of which that margin is not even up to 100%. Do you get it? So assuming what happened to Lagos State during the Obasanjo era happened to Anambra State in its time, which means Anambra State government is going to collapse. So in that aspect, he has no capacity of wealth creativity. And at this critical time in Nigeria, we need somebody with a wealth creativity consciousness who is creatively inclined in terms of wealth and finance. So in that aspect, Chief Peter Obi does not qualify to rule this country at this time. Another thing again, for his 8 years in office, he conducted a local government election once, and that once was 2 months to his tenure expiration. 2 months for him handing over to his successor. That was when he conducted local government election, which means for 8 years he withhold all the resources of the local government, using it for himself. So he did not allow the government, the dividend of democracy, the benefit of government, to get closer to the people. So that means he could not create a direct job, an indirect job for 8 years in the local areas. So he was appointing a stooge in local government. So he was withholding and imprisoning the development of the state, especially to the local area, to the remote villages, for 8 years. So that is person that I want to come and rule Nigeria at this time, which means he might decide to withhold all the allocation of all states for his own time in office. So in that aspect, he lacked the capacity to handle this country at this material time, to the best of my knowledge. Now, he said he made an investment of 75 billion for the state. What kind of investment is that? You always you move across the country, clamoring that Nigeria must move from a consumption country to a production country. Now you made an investment into alcohol, a liquor in your state. What kind of production is that? Produce alcohol for us to get drunk and lose our sense of reasoning. So all the youth now should get drunk and lose all their sense of reasoning to differentiate between reality and a mirage. So that such an investment is not an investment. It's not an investment that will move an entity or a state from consumption to production. And as you can see, recently, the present governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, he said the investment made by Peter Obi is close to nothing. So which means that investment of 75 billion he claimed has zero return for the state. Probably that investment was even his personal investment that he claimed is for the state. So doing that with all these parameters, with this few that I've just analyzed, Peter Obi does not fit in the person who can shoulder the responsibility of Nigeria at this time. Let's now look at Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was contested the election of Adamawa State in 1999, and he won the election. So fortunately, he won. Unfortunately, he was deprived of the opportunity to discharge or to discharge his executive responsibility for people to know his capacity executively. But fortunately, in the other side, he was picked as the vice president and he was given an executive responsibility because constitutionally, he is the head of the economic team. And the privatization program by Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Atiku Abubakar as the vice president, headed that council. He is the chairman of that council. But what happened under the watch of Atiku Abubakar as the chairman economic council and the who head the privatization council to oversee all the national assets for them to be revived and operate viably? What happened? The Ascon Aluminium Melting Company in Akwa Ibom State, precisely in Ikorabasi, that investment, the then military government spent $3.5 billion to establish such an investment in that area. But Atiku sold that investment for $130 million, which means the Nigeria is losing 3.3 billion dollars, 3.330 billion dollars in that investment. Such attitude, making your country to lose such amount of money, That is derogatory. And look at the Delta Steel company, which cost the Nigerian government $1.5 billion. Atiku sold it for $30 million, which means Nigeria is losing $1.470 billion. Somebody that does not have the capacity to think of how to create wealth, but rather to consume a wealth to zero and to even a minus zero. Because when your account is minus, that means you are holding debt. Somebody does not who has no the intellect to create wealth out of nothing, but is blessed in consuming something to zero. Because what he did in Akwa Ibom State and what he did in Delta State is consuming a wealth of a nation into minus zero. So such a man has not the intellect, has not the capacity, has not the political will to revive Nigeria at this material time. Because when he was given a executive responsibility, he fucked it up, he messed it up. So such a man cannot handle this country at this material time. Because this is an obvious fact that is available for everybody to go and verify. Now, and look at what Obasanjo said in his book, My Watch. He said, Atiku is corrupt to an extent. He is ready to sacrifice morality for his selfish interest. He is ready to sacrifice loyalty for his selfish interest. So if that kind of person become a president of Nigeria, he will be ready to sacrifice the whole Nigeria for his own selfish interest. So we don't need him now to be the president of Nigeria, because he has no national interest in his mind. He has no national interest. He is not nationalistic. He is not patriotic with his previous antecedent. So let's now look at the track record of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos State. He won the election, Alliance for Democracy, his party, then in 1999, as the governor of Lagos State. He made the IGR of Lagos State at 600 million naira per month. And it takes a man with such intellect, intelligence, intellectuality, capacity, and ideologist to look inward and increase the IGR of that state from 600 million to 5.5 billion per month, which amount to close to 70 billion annually. Of which, with this, he was able to survive the sanction of the federal government when the Chief Olusegun Obasanjo administration withhold his Lagos State allocation for several years. He was able to survive that, sustain the state, execute developmental project, execute a plan of 25 years in that time for Lagos State to survive. So this is one of his achievements, of which before he leave office, he established a system and a program that is viable for his successor to write down to improve the IGR more than what he handed over to them. As we speak today, the IGR of Lagos State is between 57 and 60 billion naira per month, of which that will be amount to over 600 million naira, 600 billion naira annually. It takes a man with capacity, intellectually inclined to do that. Who among these contestants can be brag of that? When we talk about Chief Peter Obi, he met his IGR at 500 million, but space of 8 years, he could only increase it between 6 billion annually to 10.4 billion annually. Kano State, as we speak, the Kano State IGR is still between 1.8 billion, 2 billion per month. Can you compare that? It's incomparable. Now, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu conducted 3 times local government election before he left office. And he created 36 local development council, which the Lagos State finances the local council from the Lagos State pocket. And those 36 LCDA, that's local council development, still exist today with the 20 local government. So which means Lagos State is having 56 local government right now, that 36 local council now has made the government very close to the people. The benefit of government, the dividend of democracy has gotten closer to the people. Can you see that? That is incomparable to the previous candidates I've just analyzed. And those FCD exist up to today. The 20 local government exist up to today, and they are still financing. Look at Lagos State, with a very small square kilometer of land, is having the largest rice mill in Africa. The largest rice mill in Africa, which was just commissioned by the Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, last month by the executive governor of Lagos State, Chief Sanwo-Olu. These are the 26 years plan of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he laid since 2006 before he left office. Which of them has a long-term plan for their state? Either Peter Obi. Let me even compare Peter Obi and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu now. It takes Peter Obi 8 years after he left office, when he now attended a seminar in UK, in United States of America. That is where a lecturer now taught him that there is no long-term plan in Africa. So it took him after he left office before he understand as an executive governor, you need to have a long-term plan, of which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has made a 25 years plan in 2006 before he left office, which those plans now are now playing out, obviously, gradually. So we need a man with a focus, with a vision and a mission, and who has the intellect and the action to actualize his ideology, which is going to play out over time. So we need a man that is going to create a long-term plan for Nigeria today. Not so this kind of man is not Atiku Abubakar, is not Peter Obi, is not Kwankwaso. So the right man for the job of Nigeria now is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former Lagos State Governor. I will urge all the voters out there to vote Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the Jagaban of Borgu, for the next election that is coming tomorrow. Comes tomorrow, 25th of February 2023. The best candidate for Nigeria to vote for is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Jagaban of Borgu. Thank you very much.